This is session 21 of Endocrinology and Reproduction paper, and in this session we are going to study the condition called diabetes insipidus. Now, what is diabetes insipidus? Now, diabetes insipidus is a condition. It is a disorder of salt and water metabolism marked by intense thirst and heavy urination. Diabetes insipidus occurs when the body can't regulate how it handles the fluids and abnormal secretion of antidiuretic hormone. So now these 3 points you remember. Diabetes insipidus is a condition where the person is losing a lot of fluids, mainly in the form of urine. Now insipidus means the dilute odorless urine. So the person produces dilute odorless urine in very large quantity. So when the person loses a lot of water in the form of urine, so it is definitely going to affect the osmoregulation process inside the body. So that is the condition. Now, why this occurs? It is mainly due to associated with the antidiuretic hormone. Either there is problem with the production of antidiuretic hormone, or the antidiuretic hormone is there but it is unable to do its function properly at different levels like in the kidney. So whatever the reason, it will lead to loss of water in the form of dilute urine released in very large quantities. Now some of the symptoms of diabetes insipidus include extreme thirst and heavy urination. So this is the most important symptom. The person feels thirsty always and he drinks a lot of water, of course. And it is associated with frequent urination. So the person will urinate dilute urine in very large quantities. Getting up at night to urinate. So since he is unable to control the urination behavior, so it will lead to getting up at night for urination and also bedwetting. And since there is a lot of water which is going out of the body, it will lead to water electrolyte imbalance inside the body tissues. So it will lead to a condition called dehydration and fatigue, malaise, etc. They are the symptoms associated with dehydration. And headache, weight loss, etc. follow the dehydration process. Now, the main complication of diabetes insipidus is dehydration. If fluid loss is greater than liquid intakes. Now remember, dehydration is very dangerous. If sufficient amount of fluid is not present inside the body, it will affect. We know that from biochemistry, all biochemical reactions are controlled by enzymes. Every enzyme will function only in the liquid medium. In the solution only they will function. So if sufficient amount of water is not there, if that liquid medium is not there, enzymes will not work, biochemical reactions will be affected, and that in turn will affect the overall functioning of the cells, tissues, organs, and the body as a whole. So therefore, dehydration condition has to be attended very seriously. Now, what are the signs or what are the symptoms which tell us that the person is suffering from dehydration? Thirst. Of course, whenever there is loss of water from the body, either in the form of sweat or urine or in any other form, we feel thirsty and we drink water, and that dehydration is compensated in a normal way. And here the person feels thirsty continuously. Now that is the difference. Everybody feels thirsty, right? So when we feel thirsty, we drink water and we feel satisfied. There is no urge to drink water again for some time. But here, the person drinks water. After a very short period of time, again he starts feeling thirsty. Dry skin. So this is the effect of dehydration. Fatigueness, sluggishness, dizziness. So that is one thing. Confusion, nauseating feeling. So these are some of the symptoms which are associated with dehydration, and that dehydration is caused due to the diabetes insipidus condition. Now there are four types of diabetes insipidus. Neurogenic diabetes insipidus. It is caused by the problem in the hypothalamus section of the brain, and it can stop producing the antidiuretic hormone. So in one of the previous topics, we studied that antidiuretic hormone is actually produced by the posterior lobe of pituitary, neurohypophysis. Now, if there is something wrong with that part of the pituitary, the hormone production, ADH production is affected, and ADH, since it is involved in osmoregulation of the body, it will affect and it will cause the diabetes insipidus. So this is called neurogenic diabetes insipidus. And the second one is nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Here, uh, pituitary is doing well, it's functioning normally, it is producing ADH, but there is something wrong with the nephrons, uriniferous tubules, because ADH will affect the nephron cells. Maybe you are aware about how the urine formation or physiology of urine formation you have studied. You know that nephron has the Bowman's capsule, then proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, and collecting duct. So this loop of Henle and collecting duct are the parts of the nephron which are mainly involved in the reabsorption of water. So those cells are controlled by ADH hormone. Now ADH hormone decides how much water to be reabsorbed from the primary urine and how much not to absorb. So ADH, if it is not working properly, it will start absorbing a lot of water from the primary urine, and that will be ultimately urinated in the form of urine. Now, so nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. So the third type of diabetes insipidus is congenital nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. So as the name itself tells, congenital, so from the birth, there is something wrong with the genes. Now, which gene? So, congenital diabetes insipidus is present from birth and is caused by several genes that cause the kidneys of the fetus to form improperly. The abnormal nephrons will not react to ADH hormone. So, here what happens, due to mutation or due to some abnormal genes, the development of kidney, the nephrons are abnormal. So abnormal nephrons are formed in the kidney, and even though correct quantity of ADH is present, is available in the body, the cells will not respond to it. So the ADH is not received by the nephrons. So that leads to diabetes insipidus. And this is called congenital nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Then the fourth one is acquired nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Now, acquired diabetes insipidus occurs after birth as a result of an outside factor damaging the kidney and leading to the excessive urination. Now, here, uh, the pituitary is functioning normally, ADH is produced in correct quantity, kidney is perfectly normal, it is doing its function correctly in the beginning, but after birth, during the lifetime of the person, due to some cause, due to maybe it's mechanical or chemical or any other cause, the kidneys are damaged, and this damage will affect the production of the urine. So if that is the condition, then we call it as acquired nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Now, they also identify some other types of diabetes insipidus, and it may be temporary, like gestational diabetes insipidus. This occurs during pregnancy, and normally it becomes normal after the parturition, once the baby is born. So the diabetes insipidus, which the pregnant woman suffers will become normal. Dipsogenic diabetes insipidus, it is due to the thirst behavior. So here everything is normal, like ADH is produced in correct quantity, kidney cells are uh, performing correctly, functioning normally. But the person's psychologically, the person is feeling thirsty, so he drinks a lot of water. And because of drinking a lot of water, a lot of urine is produced, and that may produce diabetic condition, diabetes insipidus condition. Now, what are the treatments available for this diabetes insipidus? Now, depending on the form of the disorder, the treatments have to be decided, and it will be decided by the doctor. Normally, hormone therapy, if there is something wrong with the production of hormone, amount of hormone, concentration of the hormone, etc., and if it is identified correctly, diagnosed correctly, then hormone therapy will be useful. So, sufficient and correct quantity of hormone is administered to control the osmoregulation process, the urine formation process. A low salt diet, because salt molecules, I mean salt is the one which affects the osmoregulation process in the body. So therefore, a low salt diet is advised as a part of treatment, and drinking more water. Now this is actually advised because the person is losing lots of water from the body, and avoiding dehydration is very important. So taking sufficient amount of water is advised as a part of treatment. Now, supportive care, depending upon the symptoms and other things, IV fluids and fluid replacements, because along with urine, the person also loses many minerals and other things, so which has to be um, given back to the body through. Normally, they are given back in the form of IV fluids and fluid replacements. Medications for some known causes, antidiuretic and diuretic drugs, self-care, low sodium diet. So these are some of the. So in this session, we studied the condition called diabetes insipidus. What is diabetes insipidus, and what are the symptoms of this diabetes insipidus, and what are the causes, different causes of diabetes insipidus, and what are the different types of insipidus which can occur in the human beings. And we also discussed about the possible treatments which can be administered to the person who is suffering from diabetes insipidus. Thank you.